Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today I'm going to do my predictions for the French Ligue 1. This show should have gone up about a week ago, but just a lot has gotten in the way. So now I'm going to reveal my predictions on how the 23-24 Ligue 1 season will play out. Obviously, the top three qualify for Champions League phase. Fourth place qualifies for Champions League third qualifying round. Fifth place qualification for Europa League phase. Sixth place qualification for Conference League playoff round. 7 through 15 status quo. And then the bottom two get relegated to League 2. And 16th qualifies for the regulation playoffs. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to do my predictions for the 2023-24 French Ligue 1 season. All right, in first place, I have PSG. Obviously, Paris Saint-Germain. They are loaded. They're always loaded. They have a really good squad led by the great Kylian Mbappe. And obviously they lose Messi, which is obviously a big loss. And they also lose Neymar, which is a big loss. But some transfers coming in and whatnot makes up for those big losses. And they are a pretty deep team for sure. Coming in second place, I have Ligue. Ligue is a really decent club. And by the way, PSG last season, first out of 20 in the table. So I have Ligue, as I mentioned, coming in second. Last season, they came in fifth in the league. Coupe de France round of 16. And one more thing with PSG last year, round of 16 in Coupe de France, the Trophy des Champions they won, and UEFA League they made the round of 16. So Ligue this year has a pretty decent squad. Obviously, Jonathan David is still there. He leads the way. He's just absolutely incredible. And they do have some decent transfers coming in, including Samuel Umtiti of Barcelona. So I think they are in decent shape for the season. Coming in third, I have Rennes. Rennes last year came in fourth in the league, Coupe de France round of 32, UEFA Europa League. They were in the knockout round playoffs. They still have their league guy, Amine Gouiri, which is good for them. And they have a pretty well-rounded squad, although they do lose key pieces. Andy Diouf, big loss. A couple defenders they lose. So I think they're going to be pretty good. In fourth place this season, I have Clermont Foot. Clermont Foot last season, eighth in League One, Coupe de France round of 64. their league goal scorer, Grayjon Kaye, is still around. Claremont Foot, I think, is going to be pretty decent. Nobody big left in particular. So I think they're going to be in decent shape. Coming in fifth, I have Martial. Martial, last season, third in Ligue 1, quarterfinals of Coupe de France, and then Champions League made the group stage. I think that Marseille is going to be a little bit worse this year than last season. They do lose some key guys such as Nuno Tavares, but Alexis Sanchez is still in the fold, I think. No. He's not. I thought he was. But I guess not. But they do have a lot of other decent players that will help them. Coming in sixth, I have Monaco. Monaco last season, sixth in Ligue 1, round of 64 of Coupe de France, UEFA Champions League third round qualifying, UEFA Europa League knockout round playoffs. Their lead guy, Wissam Ben Yedder, still around, which is good for that team. They do lose XL Disasi to Chelsea, which is a big loss for that team. But Brielle Mbolo and some other guys, including Ben Yedder, all still intact. Coming in seventh, I have Lyon. Lyon last season, seventh in Ligue 1, Coupe de France semifinals. Alexandre Lacazette is their lead guy. He is still around. They do lose Florent de Silva, who's out on loan. And there's a lot of other guys that they lose in transfers, which may hurt them. So I think they finish around the same spot as they were in a year ago. Coming in eighth, I have Lens. Lens is an interesting squad. I think they take a step back. They came in second in Ligue 1 last year, made the quarterfinals of Coupe de France. A big reason why I think they take a step back is they lose Luis Openda, who was their league goal scorer last season. And I just think that is just a enormous loss for that team. And I think that some of the transfers coming in are going to help, but that loss is just too big to overcome. Coming in ninth, I have Nice. So last season, ninth in Ligue 1, Coupe de France round of 64, UEFA Europa Conference League quarterfinals. the good news for them is that Gaetan Laborde is still around. They have some good transfers coming in, and they do lose a couple guys such as Aaron Ramsey, which is a big loss for them. But I still think they'll be okay. 10th, I have Montpellier. Montpellier last season, 12th in Ligue 1, Coupe de France round of 64. I think this team's going to be improved. They do lose Ley, which is a big loss for that team. But they have pretty good transfers coming in from a bunch of different squads, which I think is going to help them. Coming in 11th, I have Reims. Reims, 11th in Ligue 1 last year, round of 16 in Coupe de France. They do lose a Valerian Balgon, who is on a loan for them last season, which stinks. But I think they'll hang around a little bit. 12th, I have Strasbourg. Strasbourg last season, 15th in Ligue 1, round of 64 in Coupe de France. They do lose Habib Diallo, their lead goal scorer, which stinks. They lose a lot of guys on loans. They have some good transfers coming in, including Angelo Gabriel of Chelsea, but I think that they take a step back. 13th, I have Lorient. Lorient last season, 10th in Ligue 1, Coupe de France, round of 16. But they do lose Tarim Mafi to Nice, which is a big loss for that team. I think they take a step back too. They have some guys on loan that they're going to be relying on, such as Romain Favre of Lyon and Eamon Carey of PSG. And no really transfers to speak of that are notable. 14th, I have Toulouse. Toulouse, 13th in Ligue 1 last year. They won Coupe de France, which was an accomplishment for them. Thegis Dalinga, their lead goal scorer, returns. They do have a decent squad. They lose some guys out on loan. They have a Christian Crazes Jr. coming over from the Red Bulls on their team too. In 15th, I have last safe is Brest. Brest League 1 last year, 14th, 5th, Coupe de France, round of 32. So Jeremy Ledoron returns, which is big for them. They have some nice transfers coming in. They lose some other guys. All right. In 16th place, which is obviously relegation playoffs, Metz. Last season they were in League 2 and got promoted. Coupe de France, round of 64. So Georges Makaduze is their league goal scorer. He returns, which is huge for them. I do think there's a chance that they avoid relegation, but it will not be easy for them. All right, 17th and first in relegation, I have Nantes. Nantes was in League 1 last year, came in 16th, were the runners-up in Coupe de France, and Trophy des Champions runners-up in UEFA Europa League knockout playoffs. They lose or no, they still have never mind, Mustafa Mohammed. He still on the team, but the one they lose though is Ludovic Blas, which is a pretty big loss for them. And then 18th I have Le Havre. Le Havre last season won League 2, got promoted. 7th round of Coupe de France. They're a balanced team, but they're not like a high scoring team. Nabil Aloue still around. They lose Victor Lekal, which isn't good. But yeah, I think Le Havre finishes in the cellar, and they end up being relegated. So again, qualifying for the Champions League, I have PSG, Lille, and Rennes. Champions League third round qualifying, I have Clermont Foot. Europa League phase, I have Marseille. Qualification for the Conference League playoff round, I have Monaco. And then 7 through 15, Lyon, Lens, Nice, Montpellier, Reims, Strasbourg, Lorient, Toulouse, Brest. Qualification for the relegation playoff, I have Metz. And then relegation to League 2, I have Nantes and Le Havre. So there you have it for French League 1. Next up will be Dutch Eredivisie.